What's up, everybody, and welcome back to your Easy Go update for the West. It's been a little bit. I apologize. It's been quite busy, but we've had some great news come across for us and the golf cart industry as a whole. So, I thought what perfect timing to resurrect this update than with probably the update we've all been waiting for quite some time. So, ITC announced last week that it is going to put forward some tariffs on these Chinese imports that have been detrimental to the industry. So anti-dumping, we got that one. The countervailing duties, the CVDs, we got that one as well. And we also got them with the critical circumstances, which means that for the majority of these manufacturers, they're going to go back 90 days from the preliminary. Let's see, what's the exact terminology so we don't mess this up for you guys. Let's see. They're going to go back 90 days from that preliminary rate, preliminary determinations. So basically back in time, right? So if you were dumping in product 90 days prior to that determination, you're going to get hit with some tariffs on that. Now let's talk percentages. I don't really have anything in terms of numbers, but I do have percentages, right? So LV Tong, they're going to get hit with 119% anti-dumping, as well as a CVD rate of 41%. So that will be cumulative. Those get added together. So anything coming in now will have that. It's about 350% tariff on top of it, and that goes forward for the next 5 years. Evolution also was hit with 312%. On top of another 44% for them. So again, in that 350 range. And I apologize, my math is off. 250 for LV Tong, 350 for Evolution. And then companies eligible for a separate rate, that's going to be not LV Tong, which is Icon and Advanced EV, and not Evolution. So companies that were eligible for that separate rate, and we are working on getting a list, so there's a little bit more clarity on that. But it's basically all of the ones listed in that initial filing. They're going to see a 291% anti-dumping rate on top of a 44% CVD rate as well. And then anything else China-wide. So if they're not new, or if they're new to the game and they're trying to come on over, they're going to get hit with a 478% tariff on top of an additional 41%. So pretty extreme numbers. It's going to be interesting to see, what that actually looks like. I do know that these manufacturers have to pay what they owe to the government before they can start bringing in any new product. Now, we all know that they're going to get creative, right? So I think it's our job to pay attention and understand that, hey, you know what, maybe it doesn't sound right. Let's have some conversations around that. We need to just kind of keep an eye, right? I mean, we know that they're not a fan of playing by the rules anyway. And it's just surprising that people still continue to do business with folks that really aren't ethically motivated, nor are they, in some instances, I mean, legally, they're doing some things that aren't legal. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. The good news is, like I said, is that we are going to see a pretty dramatic increase in the rates at what they're going to get taxed and tariffed at. Which should help level the playing field. The goal here always has been to level the playing field, right? It's easier to have those conversations if we're $1,000, $1,500 off, but when it's double or more than double, to get up into a premium EasyGo product, Club Car product, even Yamaha, it was unrealistic and unfair. So we are extremely happy with this ruling. Obviously, we want a fair playing field. We understand that. People do want to bargain, and there's going to be opportunities out there for bargains and deals, and those aren't going to go away, which is great. But we also want to have something that's safe, reliable, and dependable. I can't tell you how many stories and things I've seen about these imports, just not being able to get parts, and it's starting to get worse. I'm sure some of you are seeing that now. Availability is tough, which brings me kind of to our next topic, which is going to be our latest and greatest, right? We've seen what these imports have done, and as much as they've disrupted the market in terms of, sales and kind of, what we do, they've also, I think, influenced us to be better, right? From technology and things that customers really are looking for. So what you're going to see with our new RX-V4 is we're going to have that screen, right? It's a touch screen with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, Bluetooth connectivity. It's a really fancy, fun, cool screen. It answers and I think excels a lot of the things that folks are looking for, which is good. It's on our new RX-V4, which is replacing the Express 4 product line. So it's on that RX-V chassis. Great vehicle. Most of you have it on order. If you don't, we got to get an order in. We are seeing a little bit of constraints with this product already, so we want to make sure that you have it. Likely, you'll see me here in the coming weeks with the vehicle in my trailer, give an opportunity to get a nice little walk around, show you what the vehicle's all about. It's nice. It's a good ride, and the price too is going to be competitive. It's not going to be astronomical up there. $7,000-8,000 more than what we're seeing from the competition. No, it's going to be competitive. And I think the timing for us is perfect, right? New product, great ruling from the ITC, and have an opportunity to really finish strong in the back half of the year, which I think everybody's excited for. We've got some dealers that are doing some good things out there. So can't forget that. Really, the purpose of this update, if you will, is to give some shout outs, right? So June was a good month for us. Hot in the desert, but it didn't stop A1 from leading the charge on the consumer side of our business. Golf Cars and More, shout out to my neighbor. They're down the street from me where I live, coming in second place. Poli NV out there in the desert having a good one. Cart Mart holding strong, and Tucson Golf Cars. Interesting to see that our desert folks are doing well in that June timeframe when we know it's 109 degrees or 190 degrees or whatever, how hot it is out there. I haven't seen any videos recently of people cooking eggs in their car, so maybe it's not this hot this summer. I don't know. The commercial side of our business, as most of you, all of you know, I have now taken that side of our business over as well. So, big shout out to Cartmart coming in first place there, not far behind, right close on their heels, was our B. Heyman company out there in Hawaii. A1 coming in third. Prestige, shout out to those boys out there working hard and hustling in fourth. And then Tucson, just holding strong out there in the desert, wrapping up our top five. So I like talking about sales in these updates. I think it's kind of important. I think that having some strategies and talk tracks is always important. And some of the things that we're going to talk about over the next 6 months to close out this year are going to be what's working and maybe some ideas to help you in areas that aren't working as well. For those of you that came out to the West Coast regional training, we did talk a little bit about the FATE method, which is focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. And really, I think if you can find some, and I feel, let me back up a second. I feel that all of you do some great things when it comes to sales. I mean, you're in sales, you're successful. It's fun to see, but I think there's a couple of takeaways in here that could maybe help take it to that next level. Maybe, I don't know, maybe close a deal that you didn't think you were going to close. Even if it's just taking that one little tidbit or nugget and applying it. Or talking to some of your sales guys and saying, hey, have you tried this, right? The authority one is something that really kind of sticks out to me. Because when I say authority, when we talk about authority, we think of something that's like bossing you around, something like that. That's not what this is, right? This is really supposed to be, an expert, right? That's how you can show authority, right? Having that credibility is something that's of how you show authority, and using things like, I've been in this business a long time. I've seen a lot of companies come and go. But E-Z-GO's been tried and true. They're innovators. They make some cool product. They were the first to market with lithium, and kind of everybody followed suit. They were the first to market with the 4 forward-facing seats, and then we saw this influx of everybody else doing it. So they're really innovators, right? You're going to see that hopefully in the new RX-V4. But having that talk track will show that customer that's coming in there that, hey, you know what? Yeah, this person does know what they're talking about. I've said this a million times before, people will buy from people that they trust. So if you can show that authority where you're giving that example of credibility, right? You're showing that you're an expert in this field, they're going to come and buy from you. I think back to my golf pro days. I remember there was one instance that I did not know what the latest and greatest Mizuno set of irons was. I had no idea. And, this customer comes in and I'm supposed to be the expert. For me, that was an eye-opening experience. And luckily it was early in my career. But it was an eye-opening experience. That's not going to happen again, right? I am the expert. They're coming to me for that advice. They're coming for me for guidance. So it's important that I know what that is. And same thing is true with your customers, right? They're coming to you because you're the expert. Show them that. Give them those little nuggets, those little talk tracks of why they can trust you and why you are the authority in this. EasyGo's been around. I've been working with EasyGo for 25 years, right? Some of those little anecdotal, it's close enough for the right word, comments that really kind of will resonate with those customers that are coming in. And I think that's kind of key, right? And I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk each update, each month, we're going to talk a little bit in terms of these concepts, right? So I kind of went in the middle, probably should have started with focus, but went with authority because I feel like this is a good time to have that expertise, right? To really take that part of this skill set and hone it. Because we're going to see some disruption, right, with the imports. We're going to see, some dealers and some other places go out of business because they were reliant on, the candy car or whatever they're selling. So they're going to be coming to you now, if they weren't already before, and we're going to get some of those customers back. So it's important that obviously we welcome them with open arms, number one. And number two, have that sense of authority where you do know what you're talking about, where you are the expert, where you are going to help them out, where you can have those stories and say, yeah, I know a guy that got one of those Coleman cars and it sat for a month because we couldn't get parts. Those type of stories and that type of talk track, I think, is something that's going to be important here in the coming months as we see what happens with these tariffs and how they're going to impact folks. So that's kind of what I wanted to leave with. Great update. Obviously, some really good news coming out of Washington with that ITC ruling. So really excited to see what that's going to look like, and really excited to see you guys jump on top of it and move through some product. Also, last bit of house cleaning stuff too. We still have some of those red, white, and built right rebates going out there. They are going to go through the 31st. They do require that Q3 order, I believe. If you're close on that, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do to work through it and get you those rebates. But as always, if you need anything, please holler, and we'll be seeing you soon.